name is Agnes. Before I go ahead, I just want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we work, even if we're doing this virtually. I open this event. Natalie, I'll hand over to you. Thank you, Natalie.
Okay, hi everyone. As Agnes mentioned, my name is Natalie. In terms of life, my experience with sickle cell disease, obviously as a parent, it's a big adjustment. You know, it's a big adjustment, especially when, I think for all people, I mean, especially for women, you know, when you're expecting a newborn, you basically not expecting that anything could go wrong. You always hope that none, you know, things happen as smoothly as possible. So when this particular diagnosis happens, it is definitely a lot of adjustment mentally in terms of how you're going to move forward. What does it mean for life every day? You know, what does it mean for your family? And if you, for example, have, you know, you're in a career, what does it also mean for you? All of those things, but also most importantly, how do you manage, you know, going forward, caring for your child? And I must say, so when I look back, I mean, for me, it's been 8 years on this journey. When I look back now, if it were to happen to me today, I'm not sure if I would feel more reassured, maybe knowing what I have, what I know now, seeing how this landscape is changing quite quickly. I am definitely hopeful, but I do also acknowledge that there are many challenges still. And that's why it is definitely very important to acknowledge and recognize a day like this one, because for people who, depending on where you are in the world, if you are getting that diagnosis for your child today, I believe that it will still be challenging, you know, especially when you try to go out there and try to find a community. Probably, I think for some of us, it was starting, you know, to find that community. It might have been online, and probably not the best place to go, because I think with any type of chronic illness, going online is always, you know, the worst place to start off with, and especially with a condition like SCD, it's even more challenging. But from where I'm sitting right now, I would say that the future definitely looks better, and what you should definitely do is still tap into that community where you will find people who have gone through what you are probably, you know, going to embark on, and every journey is different for everyone. So for me, I think my goal has always been to make sure that my daughter has as normal a life as possible. That yes, we do. I do understand the severity, and I've really had to educate myself quite a lot to make sure that I am a good advocate for my daughter, and to also help her along on this journey, because I do understand that one day, you know, she will have to navigate the system, possibly on, you know, as an adult. So it is important for me to still help her focus on living her best life and still making the most of the opportunities. But at the same time, we do still need to keep on talking about some of the challenges that still face this community, so that people can get the best care and definitely get to that point where we do have a cure and it is accessible to many more people. So that's me. Agnes, I don't know if you want me to add any more.
No, that's okay, Natalie. Thank you so much for sharing. And I always say, you know, every time we give a testimony or a story, I know there's somebody out there who just doesn't understand how it is for somebody who's actually living with the disease, or if you're a caregiver. So I'm hoping Yeah, yeah.
May I just add, it's so interesting as well, as we also speaking about that you've even asked me to speak about it, because just a few days ago, someone actually just sent a message on Facebook because her young daughter, who's just turned 1, got that diagnosis. So I definitely, I could understand, where she is standing, and all I can tell, and yes, and I've had to think, okay, let me try to encourage her, because I wish I had had that, let me take, help her at least, have that confidence to go along on this journey, because it can be quite overwhelming, but
can be and very lonely sometimes. Yeah. No, thank you so much for the testimony, Natalie. Okay, thank you.
Big up on yourself. Thanks so much for the support. Sickle cell, advocacy, boom. Someday, one time, oh Mama Africa go shine again. Someday, one time, oh Mama Africa go smile again. Be strong, Sickle cell, we are strong. Africa unification come. One day, humanitarian charity love. All right now, listen. Sorry. Open your eyes, better realize. Divided we fall, united we stand high. Like the late Bob Marley say, that one love will take us some way. One day, one time, I'll be standing high on the mountain, waving up the flags of unity, waving up the flags of one love. Thank you so much. You need more love. Sickle cell advocacy. Ooh. Someday, one time, oh Mama Africa go shine again. Yeah. Someday, one time, Mama Africa go smile again. Yeah. Be strong. One day, Africa unification come. One day, one time, oh Mama Africa is. From Uganda to Germany, from Zimbabwe to America, out Rwanda to Italy, from Congo to UK, now from Ivanhoe to Mississippi, from Cape Town to Everest, from Cape Town to Guangzhou, yeah. Oh Mama Africa go shine again. Listen, future unification come. We have to rise again. Oh Mama Africa, me show me. Someday, one time. Oh Mama Africa go shine again. Someday, one time. Oh Mama Africa go smile again. Be strong. One day, Africa unification come. One day, one time. Oh Mama Africa go shine again. Africa, come better smile now. Oh, better smile again. No time to cry, better smile now. Africa, come. Believe in another day, Lord. Long time. I see my grandpapa fighting on Red Sea. My mama never cry. African culture bring countries together. Love and respect. Thank you so much for all the promoters. Right now, we are giving back to our people. It's about charity, humanitarian. We need more love. Love the sick people. Remember, it's just a disease anytime. Someday, one time, oh Mama Africa gonna shine again. Someday, one time, oh Mama Africa gonna smile again. Be strong, Sickle cell patient. Africa unification come. One day, one time, oh Mama Africa gonna shine again. Someday, one time, oh Mama Africa go shine again. Someday, one time, oh Mama Africa go shine again. Be strong. One day, Africa unification come. One day, one time, oh Mama Africa go shine again. The message is clear right now. Thank you so much for all the promoters right now. This is Decent Future, the African Defender, and it's all about community and reggae music. One alongside Zari Demas. Send it. Let's go. This is dancehall time right now. You have to dance. Remember, life is all about upliftment. Yo, John there. All right now. Let's go. All right now. Black killer, red eye. Uganda, black killer, red eye. All over Africa, black killer, red eye. Sickle sell them. Everywhere we go, black killer, red eye. Uganda. Australia, black killer, red eye. Everybody's in black. All right now, me tell them black killer, red eye, the color we you pray. You gender, you are the country you're from. 256 is a card, you a call. The girl love me and them rent on me yard. Gotta see me and them one bend over. Gotta see me and them one such flower. So me tell she, come to the door. Knock, knock, and me get them a knock under. Give it a room and give them pan veranda. Who got call me and I love your shalanga. Man a sola, man a killer. Man a Zari Demas. Let's go. Jump. Everywhere you go. Bless it. For black killer red. Everywhere we go, black killer red. For mama African, black killer red. This and future, black killer red. Zari Demas, black killer red. Everywhere we go, black killer red. Man African, black killer red. Sickle cell love. All right now. Best of the best, gotta come from Uganda. Look at the streets and I want your wester. Rough guy me joke, but I be the mister. Take my heart, girl, you boss me chester. Give it a no, give it a crest, give me a cresta. Girl, it's a no, me you're done with the rest. All of them I know said this and I'm the best. You're from what? Where is the love? Pull up down here.
Me love all night. I the girl me chew all night. I the girl me pray all night. I the girl me give it to.
Where is the love? Uganda, Australia. Sickle cell people, we love them. One black killer red. Everywhere we go, black killer red. Mama Africa, black killer red. We love you, black. Sickle patients, we love them. Everywhere we go, we pray them. Big up to all of them. Where's the love? And this is Decent Future. We can't stop the music. Remember, sickle cell is just a disease. Let's love our people, our sisters, our brothers, our kids. Yes, let's support the patients right now. Remember, it is all about society and community upliftment. One Decent Future alongside Zari Demas right now, giving back to people. Loving them, yo. Big up on yourself. All the promoters of this thing, Decent Future. Tell them how we the girl, them. Black killer red. Everywhere we go, black killer red. Oh, mama Africa, black killer red. We love them. More love, black killer red. We love them. We love you. 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 Done now. Yeah, man, it's all about giving the love and respect. Thank you so much. Decent Future.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, Natalie, go for it. Thank you.
Okay, I will share it.
As one of the ambassadors for Australian sickle cell advocacy, I know how important it is to raise awareness of sickle cell diseases, particularly today, World Sickle Cell Awareness Day. An invisible disease. It's almost impossible to identify someone affected and often suffering from the side effects like pain, infection and swelling. While thankfully not hugely common here in Australia, the effects of sickle cell diseases are devastating for those affected and their families. As I'm sure you'll be aware, African, Mediterranean and Asian peoples, including people of North African descent like me, are far more likely to be affected by the disease. These are some of Australia's fastest growing populations, which makes further action on this so important. Like many diseases, the earlier treatment can commence, the better the outcomes. It is for that reason it's so important that we are conducting newborn screening for children born with sickle cell disease. In Canberra, I'll be focusing on a few areas related to sickle cell, working with my colleagues in the Labor Party to raise awareness of sickle cell diseases, pushing the Health Minister and the Morrison government to take more action and put in place common sense measures such as early screening, and providing funding for advanced research for how to better treat and prevent this invisible foe. I wish you all the very best and hope to see you all again soon.
Thank you to Honorable Peter Khalil, who was unable to join us today, but he's one of our ambassadors who's been trying to help us advocate for things that are beyond us and behind the closed door. So I thank you again to Honorable Peter Khalil. So at this point, I'm going to hand over to Bola to just share her story. Bola, thank you.
Hi everyone. My name is Bolanle. I live in the northern suburb here in Victoria. I have 2 kids who live with sickle cell anemia. My first daughter was diagnosed at the age of 3.5 years. And from there, we've taken it on and we've been trusting God on her behalf. She's 22 years old today, to the glory of God. She finished grad here and she's going back for the second degree next year by God's grace. Although it's not too easy for her because she's just in and out of the hospital. At least she get admitted 4 times to 6 times in a year. But with her medication, the hydroxyurea she's on now, she has not skipped it now. So everybody kept saying, remember to take your medication. And it has been working for her. She's working, she's schooling, and she's on her medication full time at the moment. So no hospitalization at all from January to June. So I bless God, and there's a peace of mind for me as well, because I don't have to be running around hospital. And with mine, I have 4 of them. My daughter, number 1, she's 22. I have a son, he's AS, and I have another son. The first son, sorry, it's 19 next week. Another son is 14. But my last son is 13, who lives with multiple diagnoses. He's got Down syndrome, he's got sickle cell anemia, he's got his heart repaired, but he's 13 years old, he's doing very well. So my responsibility for somebody like him with multiple diagnoses is on full-time medication. We don't miss it at all. And whatever safe medication I could use to help him to keep going. So he's 13 years old. So this is my life for the last 22 years. I had my daughter and my son as well will never stop. But at the moment, they're stable, they're very good. And all I know is that if you get the early screening from people who live with sickle cell anemia, it's better that way. You know exactly what you're doing and how to plan yourself with them. So my take home for everyone on board here, we should just remember it's a disease. It's a disease, but when you are there as a mother with the kids that have the sickle cell disease, you have to be on top of everything for them so that you encourage them on the daily basis what to do, what to eat, and to exercise as well. So here we are. They're doing very well to the glory of God. And thank God for somebody like, since I've met Agnes, she's been supportive. And I want to give kudos to all the doctors there in Royal Children's Hospital, especially Dr. Chris Burns and ATR Greenways. They're very, very supportive. They're doing a great job. That is my story. I think I will stop there. Thank you everyone for coming on board, and thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you, Bole. It is nice to see you. Okay, and we'll carry on with our program. Agnes will be back in a few minutes. She just has to step out for a bit. So our next guest is Fiona Cunningham. Fiona.
Okay, look, I'm a genetic counsellor from Monash Medical Centre, and I used to work in the medical therapy unit, which is the main treatment centre for children with sickle cell disease, and the other main treatment centre is at the Children's Hospital. So Anthea Greenway works with us with Zane Kaplan at Monash Medical Centre, but I do know Chris Barnes as well. So we're very blessed in Victoria to have some great doctors who are great advocates for your children and for you. And hopefully sort of promoting better treatments and better outcomes for everybody. I've got a few slides to share just to sort of, because a lot of people don't know what genetic counsellors do. So I guess, you know, even if outside of the sickle cell world, you know, when I say, look, I'm a genetic counsellor, that's like, what on earth is that? A lot of people don't know what we do. It's quite a new profession, even though we have been around for over 20 years. It's a little bit of a niche area. We're really only being recognised as specialised allied health professionals now, which is just crazy. But sort of in a nutshell, I'll just move that might make it better. In a nutshell, genetic counselling, the official diagnosis of it is it's a process of helping people understand and adapt to the medical, psychological and familial implications of genetic contributions to disease. And I think in the context of, you know, sickle cell disease, where it becomes, you know, where we come in is when a family has a new diagnosis or are found to be at risk of having a child with sickle cell disease, and also to help them make informed choices, you know, those reproductive choices. What are we going to do? So, hold on. It's not moving. There we go. Okay. Okay. So in that context of what we do, I think the first thing, you know, when I see a new family, the first thing I do is I take their family and their medical history. So we find out, you know, what other things are there, sort of like Bola was talking about, you know, her son has other conditions. Being aware of what else is in the family can be important, and to help families sort of integrate their own medical histories and their family histories so that we can help them understand their condition or the condition in the family, but also how it might impact on their life. And we also have to do risk analysis. We have to work out, you know, particularly in which families have a chance of having a child with sickle cell disease. We also, one of the major things, particularly when we have a new diagnosis, people often come to us, or, you know, we see them pre-pregnancy when they're told, look, you're both carriers of sickle cell disease or sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia, and during pregnancy, and sometimes after pregnancy when they have a child who is born with the condition has been newly diagnosed. And there can be a lot of fear and shock and worry about that. And some people feel a lot of stigma associated with this as well. And we hope that telling people or educating people about sickle cell disease will help them overcome that. As we learn more about it, as why it happens, you know, why do some groups have a higher frequency of sickle cell disease than others? When we put it in the context, well, being a carrier for sickle cell disease can help protect you against malaria, where malaria is endemic. That kind of starts making sense, and it hopefully reduces some of the stigma that some people feel when they have a diagnosis. There's often the why me symptom as well. So we sort of go through the inheritance of why this has happened in their family, what are the symptoms if they're not already aware of them, what are the treatments that are available now, but we also talk about future treatments, the things that are coming up and that might improve the outlook for children. Particularly in the reproductive field, we talk about what sort of results we might expect, when we might get them, and the implications of any testing that someone might choose to do. We do try to offer a lot of psychosocial support, particularly to new families when they have a new diagnosis, but also, you know, when people have to make decisions about reproductive choices about a current pregnancy or future pregnancies, and that can be a really stressful time for families. And I know, sort of talking to, listening to Natalie and Bola, this idea we can provide some psychosocial support, but I think the group, you offer so much more, because I don't have sickle cell disease. I've worked with many families that do, but I think your lived experience and the wisdom and the support you offer each other is far more than we can do. But that's one of the things we do try to do. We try to link you in with other people who can provide the support that we can. So we can help you in a medical field, we can help you in that initial diagnosis and understanding, but ongoing support, I think your group is doing an amazing job in supporting each other, and it's really lovely to see how you work together. Often we're also told about, how do I tell my family? And this can be a really big issue, because genetic conditions are shared conditions. It's not just you, it's your family. It might be your children, it might be your brother or your sister or your parents. And sometimes people really worry about how they can tell their family and what it might mean for them. So we believe knowledge is power. We do encourage people to communicate with their families, but sometimes they find that hard, and that's okay as well. So we sort of try and help them sort of work out what's right for them and their families. Sometimes we get questions about, insurance and employment. Should I have testing? Should I have my child tested? Is this going to affect my ability to have a job? All of that sort of stuff as well. So we sort of talk, genetic counselling is very diverse. But in a role, what our main goal is really is to try and promote adaptation of the family and a person to their particular condition, and in your case, sickle cell disease, and to encourage them to make informed choices, so their choices that are right for them at that particular time in their life. So, I just love this picture, it looks like a Medusa. So the sort of questions that we get, like, someone's told, what is sickle cell disease? How did my child get it? Or what is the risk that my child, my baby is going to have it? Why us? Are they going to be okay? Well, we'd like to say they are going to be okay now, because we've got such great carers in Victoria and Australia wide. Can we get rid of the gene? Is something that we often get asked, and we have to tell them no, at the current time we can't. But gene therapies are something there's a lot of research going into. What about other children? The children you already have, are they at risk? What if I want to have more children? What are our options? And said, how do I tell my family what supports are available? So these are the sorts of things that people are struggling with when they come to see us, and we try to help them. We do a lot. So we do a lot of work with families with new diagnoses and to help them to understand and adapt to it. We also get a lot of referrals for people who don't actually have a child with sickle cell disease at that stage, and they have to make up their mind about what they will do. Preferably we see them pre-pregnancy, but frequently we see them during pregnancy. And so I think the big question is to test or not to test is a really difficult question for many people to say. And I think it's not so much to test or not to test, because, listening to Bola and Natalie, an early diagnosis is a good diagnosis, is better for the child. I think the big question should be now, when should we test? So some people won't test, they'll wait until a child develops symptoms. And we prefer that not to happen, because we know that sometimes for the onset of symptoms, there might have been damage already happening. So it's better if we can see children before they develop symptoms. Some people might want to test in a prenatal setting. Some might say, look, I'm not going to test a pregnancy. I don't want another child to have sickle cell disease, and we'll go through IVF and pre-implantation genetic testing, or we will try that. Some people say, no, I'm not going to test my pregnancy or any pregnancy, but I do want to know if my child is at risk of developing sickle cell disease. So I will do that when the baby is born. So we might take cord blood when the baby is delivered, or we'll take a sample from the blood later on. And sometimes we said we might wait till a child's 1 or 2 years old. And I think one of the exciting things for the future is that, there may be the option of non-invasive genetic testing during a pregnancy. So at the moment, prenatal testing does have a small risk of miscarriage. So to sort of find out prenatally when you think it might risk the pregnancy is a big decision for people to make. But certainly there is some work going on to having a blood test from the mother and working out whether the baby has got sickle cell disease. Just to sort of finish off, I just sort of wanted to just focus a little bit on some of the issues about reproductive decision making, because I know this is a really big issue for people, particularly in the world of sickle cell disease. And it's going to be a really difficult time for couples to decide what they're going to do. We see couples who might have a family history of it, or they've come through us through a screening program. But the decision making for couples is very individual, and it's very much based on their experiences, their families, their culture, their beliefs. Sometimes the perception of the risk of the condition, there can be a lot of fear. They don't know about it. Is my child going to have a normal life? Is it going to affect their intelligence? Are they going to be able to do all the things that kids normally do? And so their perception of risk varies between different couples, and that's okay. Also, the lived experiences of different people. If you've had lost siblings to sickle cell disease, then that's going to be a bigger issue for you than for someone who's not experienced that. And this can be a big thing when sort of in other countries that are not as fortunate, as we are here in Australia. The health system has not allowed children to grow up to be 23 and 40 and 60-year-olds. And in Australia, we have that. So we might have someone coming from another country where they have lost siblings, and we have to reassure them that the health system here is much better, and that, the outcomes for their children will hopefully be much better. Sometimes we've got to consider other children in the family, other pressures, what are their ambitions, work, being able to earn a living, all of those sorts of things. The family, genetics is a family thing. And so the role of other family members, particularly extended family members, can be important for some couples, but not for all of them. Personal beliefs and religion are really important in this. And one of the other things which makes decision-making really difficult around sickle cell disease is it's getting so much better. The treatments are so much better. Children are doing so much better. And that's great, but it can make the decision-making much more difficult for some people. It's also a variable condition. Some children won't get very ill and others do. And that can also make it really difficult for people to actually work out what is it going to mean for their children. So we sort of try and talk couples and sometimes single mothers through this and help them make the right decision for them. And said it's not easy, but we want them to make informed choices for their situation, and there are our contact details. So I will get out of that now. It's been a very quick talk, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, and I'll stop sharing.
Thank you very much for that, Fiona. I don't know. I definitely can see that, from the knowledge that has been garnered, from this patient community, we can definitely move forward. And it's so great that even this year's theme is knowledge is power, because I definitely believe that that to be very true for this particular condition, in terms of how it influences how these people who are affected by sickle cell disease live, their caregivers, and also the emerging treatments that we are so much in need of, which means that all of this knowledge and education can definitely help to steer us in better outcomes in terms of research. Just move on to our Perth team. Caroline, are you guys ready?
This is the group at the moment side the tower, if you can see it. It's already gone red at the moment. And this is the group that we've got at the moment. We are just outside having our final introduction and everybody's here. We will soon be going out to dinner, but I'll just bring you close to everyone. Maybe you can say hello.
Hi. Hi.
Hello. I don't know if you can still see everyone, but yes.
A bit blurry, I must say.
This is the group that we got at the moment.
Yeah. And just for everyone on the line, can you just tell them, can you maybe try to spotlight on the tower, which has been lit?
Yes,
definitely.
sure.
Might want to move that way.
Yeah. Are you there, Caroline? Okay, just need to remove the spotlight from myself.
I am here. I don't know if you can see the actual tower behind me. I'm just trying to lift the camera so you guys can actually see the tower, but here's our tower. It's been lit up red.
Stunning, Caroline. So from your team, Caroline, would you be able to share something? I know you are definitely one of our most prized members, if I can say that. And all of us are prized, but I know you live with the condition. What's your insight? Because we've heard from caregivers, and I think we all can also hear from someone who actually is living with this condition.
Yeah, well, I am definitely really sorry. Our audio is going to be a bit off because we're near a water fountain. If you can see it in the background, that's where
Beautiful.
the actual
Just go for
tower
it.
is, but we're trying to get away from it as much as we can. So yeah, we've just done a formal introduction, and now we've got everyone lighting up the candle. And this is just the group lighting up the candle for tonight, and just pretty much in commemoration of sickle cell awareness disease. And seems like we've had a really good, fantastic evening at the moment, and we'll finish up with having dinner at just one of the restaurants close by. So sorry I can't keep you updated with everything that's going on with the background noise, but I hope you can hear and see us.
Oh, okay, thanks, Caroline. So just very quickly, Caroline, I mean, as I mentioned, because what I wanted to hear, especially, it's always important to hear the stories, you know, the lived stories.
Sure.
What do you feel on this day? Because I know you are living with sickle cell disease, you know, what does it mean for you? Yeah.
Oh, definitely. It's just an overwhelming day with so many overwhelming emotions at the moment. And yeah, one of them is just the excitement that I get to meet a lot of people who've got the same disease and who are facing the same situation as I am. And like literally today, I met one of the sickle cell patients who's here and hasn't been in Australia for far too long. Yes, for me, sickle cell anemia, Sickle Cell Awareness Day is quite a fabulous day in the sense that I get to meet people who are going in the same boat as myself. Having to deal with sickle cell anemia growing up and having to deal with it at this stage is just sort of like, it's been a journey, and having to meet people who've gone through the same journey as me, it helps to know that I'm not alone and I'm not dealing with it on my own. I can always talk to someone else who's going through the same boat, because I think most importantly for people with sickle cell anemia, they want to be understood. And to have somebody who understands you, who's going through the same situation as you, it helps. And to have that on a bigger scale worldwide, have that awareness going on worldwide, it is a really good way of knowing that something is being done about it, because you're born with it. It's not like a choice and then you're supposed to die with it. So having people to do more research, raise that awareness, and having people to understand that sickle cell anemia is just another situation that needs to be investigated a little bit more. It helps. It really does help. And this community has helped me to reach out and find out more people who are like me. And I feel understood a little bit more, and to share the stories with everyone across the world. I think it's a fantastic day. I've got the support.
Thank you so much, Caroline. So after this, what do you guys plan to do?
So now we're just having a moment, light up the candle. And once we light up the candle, we'll probably just say a little prayer and then go on for dinner. So we're excited about dinner.
Good on you. We unfortunately had to cancel our event in person. So we're happy that you guys are, we're happy to see the pictures that you guys have put up.
Oh, definitely. We'll post a few pictures online and you can see how we are for the group. So thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Caroline.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.
Anyway, my name is Isabella and I am the president of the ASCA Queensland chapter. Today we actually came down to South Bank to try and meet some of the warriors, and we have done that. And then we went on a treasure hunt looking for all the red lights around the city. And a lot of the city was actually in red. So we're walking over to the river now. We might be able to show you the Treasury Casino that was actually lit up, as well as one of the bridges that are actually lit up here as well. Not far, but I might turn the camera around and see. So we're walking towards the river now. This is a parkland. Might be able to see a bit of the bridge. We're just walking over to the edge, so that way you can actually see all the red lights. I don't know if you can hear me. They also lit up the QPAC Centre, which is one of the performing arts centres. That's where they have all the magical plays here in Queensland. All right.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see a bit of red.
I saw a bit of red in the sky and some maybe under a tent. I'm not sure.
Yeah. We'll end up seeing the Treasury Casino.
Yes, yeah. Okay.
As you can appreciate, it's a very chilly winter's night here in Brisbane. Chilly for us is probably a nice summer's day for you guys, but
yeah, yes, yeah, it is very cold in Melbourne. So Isabella,
yes.
While you are on here, I mean, and obviously,
I've got Hilda here as well with me. She's walking.
Oh, hello.
Say hello to Hilda.
So Isabella, are you able to just say, I mean, today, World Sickle Cell Awareness Day, recognition, and it's 2021. I know you have you're a caregiver, and your children are a bit older.
Yes.
Can you maybe briefly talk about some of the things that have changed, that you have seen, that have changed positively and that make you hopeful, for this particular space?
I guess, can you hang on? We're nearly there. Can you see the bridge?
Yes.
It's going over the river, and then you've got the Treasury Casino just right across there, lit up as well. So we were over there before. Okay, some of the things that have changed for us, I guess it makes you positive and think, would I do this again? I've got 3 great kids, and we've all lived this warrior life. I guess the positives out of that is they're quite resilient, and they live positively. Yes, there are some really hard times, but they, the good times outweigh all those bad times. Treatment, I guess, has it's actually remained the same for us. Apart from having apheresis, I remember when that first started, it was all done manually, like they would actually take blood out with syringes, and now they've got apheresis. So that's actually quite is a great advancement, because it means that they don't need to be in hospital as long. It's not as painful, and they can get on about their day on that side of things. When we first started, iron overload was such a big thing. With apheresis, that sort of decreases that, but also they used to have chelators that were intravenously and subcutaneously, and we were worried about that, but then there was an introduction of medication like tablets, so that was a promising thing, which meant that they were able to grow up as normal as they possibly could grow up, without being, that's right, Anthony's just said, without a pump, which meant that they would have to have that on them the whole time, making sure that there was no infections and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of treatment has changed over the 27 years that we've actually been doing that, which is quite promising and giving them much of a normal life. Some of the things that I'd love to see is a universal cure, and not which at the moment is only bone marrow transplant, and that's usually with a sibling donor. And back then there wasn't many people that were willing to try that, but we've seen a lot of success, which is fantastic now. So they're all the positive things, I think. Yeah, no, well, actually, gene therapy and stuff, which is actually starting to be introduced now, which for some people, and which was just a thought back when the kids were actually diagnosed. What's the good part about it, I suppose, is just family and the closeness we have, all of us together, the positivity that we've raised them up to be, that this is not who they are, this is only a part of who they are. So I'm proud of them. I'm proud that they've grown up that way. So yeah, that's about it, folks. I don't know what else I can add to that. Hilda, do you want to add something or no, she's good.
Nothing from Hilda. And
Yeah.
I think Shane has gone home, maybe, or is he available to share something?
Sorry, what was that?
Shane, has he gone home, or is he available?
No, Shane's gone home. It's very cold here tonight, so it's better that all our warriors went home. Otherwise, we've it might not end up being a good night, if you know what I'm trying to say without saying it. So
Yes, yeah, I do. But although I'm just wondering, it being Queensland, how cold it really is. In Melbourne, it is cold.
yeah, no, it's not It's not Melbourne cold. Okay.
Yes, it's not Melbourne cold.
But it's freezing cold for Queensland when you become acclimatized. I think it's probably about, I don't know. And does anyone want to check the temperature? Probably about, I don't know, 18 degrees.
Oh.
I'm thinking 18 degrees. Hang on a minute. We're checking. I got the weather reporters here checking there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be a wonderful day in Melbourne, I tell you, quite frankly.
Yeah.
14. Feels
Oh,
like 9.8.
Okay, it's 14. It feels like 9.8.
Okay, yeah, 14 is a bit cold. I
Okay,
understand.
it is a bit cold. So, and because we're right here on the river, the beautiful sights, I don't know if you can actually see them. It's all quite lovely here at
It is
Brisbane.
beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. It is a bit cold for them to be out here. So, yeah, could turn that around, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
So you can actually see our faces. I just thought you'd like. So can you see? So you can't see our faces. That's a problem.
Yes, we can see you.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. We got the. Can you see us? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Got it out there.
And it's really great, to see what you guys have done, and to see all those beautiful buildings lit up in red, and yeah. So yeah, we hope
next year will be a bit bigger and better. And, it's just the beginning for us. So we're looking forward to. We've got lots of plans now for next year as how we're going to be doing this. So
absolutely.
I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, we definitely hope that next year we'll be able to celebrate in person, because we had to unfortunately cancel our event.
Of course. We're going to start heading towards a warmer area. So give us if we get off, all right?
Okay.
Okay,
Excellent.
thanks, guys. Thanks. Over and
Good to
out.
see you guys.
Over and out. Bye.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good. You having fun?
Yes, yeah, it's been nice. So far, we've had some entertainment, which we'll have again by Dyson Future. We've had a few stories.
Excellent.
Yes,
and you've got people from everywhere. I was envious of the women in the red hat. They're out. Where are they?
That's Isabella. So that's Isabella. She's the president of our Queensland's chapter.
Oh, that's it. She's in Queensland. Okay.
Yes, they were showcasing the buildings that were lit in red, in honor of World Sickle Cell Day today. We've also had
wonderful.
Yeah, we've also had our WA chapter. Caroline presented them, and they also showed us the bell towers, I believe, which were lit up in red.
Oh, I wish I could show you something other than Melbourne, but
well, it's lovely to see you. So, Maria, please, without wasting too much time, let me welcome you on the platform, of course.
Let's start.
Maria is our ambassador, one of our ambassadors.
Sweetie, thanks, great.
Okay, if you can please self-introduce, I think that's always great. Please go ahead.
Look, it's Maria Van Vakinu, the federal member for Cornwall, and I'm one of the ambassadors of Australian Sickle Cell. And in fact, I'm probably one of the first and was present at the official launch in 2018 at the Royal Children's Hospital. Obviously, I know Agnes very well. She's my constituent, and as all of you will know, Agnes has been the main driver and enabler of the establishment of this organisation. And I just wanted to reflect on the enormous amount of work that she has done and Preston has done, but with her, she has been joined along the way by a very impressive network of people right across this country. And from what I've gathered, and I haven't been able to participate in every event because this is a very prolific organisation, internationally as well. And I personally first met Agnes many, many years ago in another capacity. So I just want to reflect on Australian Sickle Cell Day today. Obviously, it's very important to have days set aside, International Day today set aside, so that advocates and all other people who are interested in raising awareness about sickle cell disease have the opportunity to come together and speak about sickle cell disease, raise the awareness, but also look at the advocacy angle of it. And that's something that the organisation, the Sickle Cell Australia organisation, has been very, very prolific in the last 3 years. And I know from my previous experiences and conversations with you all that the newborn screening for sickle cell disease is a major issue of concern, as in trying to achieve this screening so that children who are diagnosed or are aware of this condition at a very early age. Because one of the difficulties, and I don't need to tell you all this, you know it, one of the difficulties is actually knowing you have this condition. And I've obviously heard stories and met people who for many years were very ill for all sorts of ailments, but had never really been diagnosed. So obviously a key diagnosis, and then of course treatment and possible cures into the future. But I'm very keen, and I know that I will be meeting with Agnes in Canberra next week. I'm aware that the application for the NBS screening has progressed and it's gone through a first stage. And as someone who is not only patron, but someone who's very interested in advocating for conditions such as sickle cell and other diseases, I believe it's very important that we do whatever we can to advocate, and with the Minister in particular, and to ensure that NBS is implemented and that it's implemented across the board. And I'm absolutely certain that such screening for early diagnosis potentially can lead to life-saving treatments into the future. So it's important for everyone to keep the work going and to keep the advocacy going. And you're certainly doing a great job of that anyway to date. And I expect that you will go on to do greater things. And I, like many others, will be very keen to walk with you on this journey and to help you in my capacity as best I can. But I just want to thank everyone who is associated with Australian Sickle Cell, because most of you, or virtually all of you, do this voluntarily, and you do it because you are committed to a common cause. And as we've said before, in Australia, we have a large community, especially from African countries. This is a prevalent condition amongst many African countries, as is its cousin condition, thalassemia. So much research still needs to be conducted, and research requires funding in order for it to happen in an effective way and to lead to eventually a more substantive cure. So on this day, congratulations to you all, and enjoy the beautiful red day. Unfortunately, I didn't think of anything red to wear, but I know there's one other thing that you're all lobbying very hard for, and that is to establish an Australian Sickle Cell Day. And I think there's still a lot of work to be done in that space, but I'm absolutely certain that the will and the commitment from you all is there to drive that ambition forward also.
Thank you so much that you managed to join us. I was going to send you dinner. I was supposed to buy you dinner today.
Look, I just hope we can all get together. I mean, it's been a difficult year, hasn't it? And it's been a really trying time for all of us, but at least we can see each other on screens.
I know.
And hopefully
I
will see you next week, Agnes. You're coming up.
Yes, I'm coming to Canberra next week with Isabella. She's dropped off. I'll be coming with Isabella from Queensland. So I'm hoping to have even just 10 minutes with you. I know you.
Yeah, you will. You will. And at the very least, I might try and see whether we can get some meetings. It's a very busy week next week, but one thing that I am involved with a number of members of Parliament, and between us, we co-chair lots of friendship groups, from rare diseases to heart. I think we can agree all that we must establish a sickle cell friendship group. And I'd like you to meet John Alexander and Dr. Michael Freelander, who's a paediatrician. Yeah. And I think that together with those colleagues who are really committed, and Dr. Katie Allen as well, who's also a paediatrician.
Because I know you told me to get in touch with Dr. Katie Allen, and she asked me to get in touch with Fiona Martin. So
fabulous.
I've got a meeting scheduled for Honorable Fiona Martin.
Beautiful.
I'll next week.
Well, let's try and do some more work up there next week, Agnes, and let's get it's a good group of people. It really is, and it's bipartisan.
Thank you.
Because Fiona and Katie are members of the Liberal Party, and so is John Anderson. Michael and I are members of the Labor Party, and the best work is done by members of Parliament on a bipartisanship level, and I'm really looking forward to working with them as well, so that we can move forward. So I look forward to seeing you.
No, thank you so much. Are you staying for 5 more minutes?
You owe me the dinner. Dinner, not Uber dinner. We have to sit together and break bread on a table.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Do you want to listen to African music for 5 minutes?
I'll listen to some music. Yes, why not?
Okay. All right, Dyson, please, please take it up before our ambassador goes, please.
Hey, whoa. All right now. We'll up and come back again. My name is Distant Future. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting this community, humanitarian and charity grounds. Again, big up to Aggie, the people I know there, One Zari Demas, and this is Distant Future, the African Defender, and we are very happy to present this to you. Take it. Whoa, Distant Future, Zari Demas, charity life, boom. Check, all right now, dance. Kabububu kanzitanse gandi wanga malala walala ya kuwa kuchalo anti bandaba amasina makopelele gamenyo mugonga bela choligwe na wananya kabububu kanzitanse gandi wanga malala walala ya kuwa kuchalo anti bandaba amasina makopelele gamenyo mugonga bela choligwe na wananya bampitani What is my name? What is my name again? What is my name again? What is my name? What is my name? What is my name again? Sickle Cell Day, charity grounds. Sickle Cell Day, advocate for them. Now one I am. All right, now listen this. Look at the version. Baby girl, now one I am. Better knowing from today onwards. Chimanye okutambula n'abambeja ekitegeeza ncholi mulangila tusakupisa. All right now, this and future represent them. Outer Africa man may kill them. Zari Demas future. All right now, sickle cell message is clear. Love one another. It's all about community. We need more upliftment. Yes, where is the funding? donation for you, from you to another man, another sister and brother. You save your life. Sickle cell, they need more upliftment and love. Give them love. All right. Yeah. We give them love. We give them love. We give them love. Sickle cell there. We give them love. We give them love. We give them love. Sickle cell there. We give them love. We give them love. We give them love. Sickle cell there. Yo, we give them love. We give them love. Show them love. Future. Me represent the world, but I'm here from Uganda. That's a historic credit and I'm African defender. Movie star, from me an actor. Since we know myself, I'm a true humanitarian. Sickle cell day, we love now. All right now, yes I. Much obliged to be here again. My name is Listen Future. I come alongside my lion. Yes, Zero Demas. We're representing African vibes and good elevation and community love through music. This is the only way we can show our love. The only way we can show our love. Thank you so much, guys, organizers, for being there for community. Yes, again, salute. Dance for me. You have to dance, everybody, wherever you are. You have to enjoy your life. Jump for that, like this, like this. Everybody like that. Hey. What is my name again? 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 Hey, we love them. We love them. We love them. Sickle cell day. Outer Uganda, South Savannah. Right now, me there in Melbourne City. I come along, friend, from Warrabe. Manager, you kill and bad. Represent bad man, you are nice. Humanitarian, yes, you are tight. Charity.
That was great.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much, Dyson. Well, at this point, we'll go to Rachel. We always like to end with mental health. It's a very part of what we do, and we're advocating that this is included in all care plans in Australia for anyone living with sickle cell disease, impacted by sickle cell, as a caregiver, as a sibling, everyone around the family. And now we are going to call on Rachel to give us a presentation about mental health.
My name is Rachel, and I'm going to be sharing about living with sickle cell anemia. We are aware that it's a condition that has no cure. And as a result of that, people have to manage it. And sometimes they have to go through some other intervention to reduce the impact of living with sickle cell. So on my slide number 2, we are saying that sickle cell anemia is a chronic disease. What does that mean when we say it's a chronic disease? We are saying that it's a condition that is not cured. Once you're born with it, now you're likely to live with it. And as a result, we know that people get it through genetic inheritance, and it is a red blood cell disorder. For some people, they get frustrated and they feel hopeless and helpless sometimes, especially when they know that there is no cure for it. So treatment, psychological treatment, aims to relieve pain and prevent complications through management of stress and anxiety and depression. So psychological health strategies that I'm going to present here, they include, some of them, they include physical pain management that you can actually use, and also mental health management. So for physical pain management, I also want to encourage you that you need to work with your general practitioner, because they normally have pain management pharmaceutical therapies that may be available to you. So this presentation will focus on psychological strategies to manage anxiety and depression. Some of the psychological strategies can also help with pain management, because we believe that when stress levels are very high, pain also comes with stress. Why do we have to look at anxiety and depression? We have been told that people who live with sickle cell, 8.4% of those people, they live with anxiety, or they've been diagnosed with anxiety. And 49% of people who live with sickle cell have had some depressive symptoms at one time or most of the times. And then we also have people that have been diagnosed with depression and they actually live with depression, which makes about 29% of those people. So in total, we are saying that we have a total of 83.2% of people with sickle cell that live with anxiety or depression. One of the psychological strategies that we use to manage anxiety, depression, and other stress-related mental health complications, we use psychoeducation, which is what the sickle cell anemia is doing right now. With the advocacy, this advocacy is aimed at improving knowledge and understanding regarding the sickle cell condition. Improved knowledge will increase capacity for the people who are living with sickle cell and for their caregivers to better cope with the condition. And in this space, we are relying on what we call support groups. Support groups are communities that we've seen during this evening. We've got people in Queensland, people in New South Wales, people in Victoria, people in Africa that are coming together to support one another by telling each other stories and sharing ideas on how you can go better cope. So we are saying, encourage communities wherever you are, because support groups are part of a psychological strategy to live better with sickle cell. And psychoeducation will always benefit the affected person and also their families, because when this happens in your families, you're in it together. We also have what we call trauma counseling, which is something that is common amongst people who live with sickle cell, because some people, sometimes they faint in public places, and that can bring a lot of trauma. Some people have other complications that will put them on a spotlight, or they might fall and have maybe broken legs, depending on where that happens. So we are saying trauma counseling is something that we also encourage if you have been in a situation where you experience trauma. And then tonight, I'm going to focus on the cognitive and behavioral therapy. That's what I'm going to focus on mostly. It comprises of two psychological approaches, which is the cognitive processes and the behavioral processes. What are we talking about when we're talking about the cognitive processes? We are talking about your perception. We are talking about the way you interpret your world. We are talking about how you interpret the events in your life regarding your condition and all the other related problems that comes with it. So CBT comes from a premise which says difficulties in living, even in relationships, in general health, our work, they all have their origins in our thinking. And we have an automatic response from what we are thinking to our body sensations, which are our emotions. And then eventually we act on those emotions, which is behavior. So that's where we are coming from. What are the aims of cognitive and behavioral therapy, cognitive and behavioral strategies? The first aim that I want us to know is that we are looking at challenging or changing inappropriate and self-defeating thoughts. Why do we call them self-defeating thoughts? It's because we have a tendency to go on a tangent of unhelpful thinking when we are in pain and when things have not gone in a way that we expected. We had a parent this morning who was saying, for mothers, we have just given birth to children with sickle cell. It can be very confronting knowing that your child is going to live with a lot of pain or has to adjust to a lot of health issues as they are growing up. So we are saying, in our thoughts, we may be engaging in inappropriate styles of thinking. And we are saying, with cognitive and with CBT, we can unlearn those unhelpful ways of thinking. And that can help to provide strategies to manage pain and distress. And those CBT strategies will help to improve mood and psychological coping ability. CBT can also be offered to patients with sickle cell individually and in groups. So if you can see a psychologist or any other mental health professional in your community, they can help you to manage anxiety, depression, and any form of stress that could be making your quality of life below the expected standard. Some people engage in what we call neuropsychology, and neuropsychologists will help you to assess where you are and where you need to get help. And now, let's move to the next. Yep, okay, right. So when we're talking about unhelpful thinking patterns, like we say that even though we have a condition, if we have self-defeating thoughts, or if we engage in unhelpful ways of thinking, we can reduce our quality of life because we end up living in anxiety. I'm gonna sweep through a few patterns of unhelpful thinking. The first one is called mental filter. When people are filtering in their minds, just like any other filter that you know, whether it's a funnel, people have a tendency only to sift the few things that are more interested in. So in a way, mental filter will make your mind focus on the negatives only. You wake up in the morning, you're thinking, I've got sickle cell. You're thinking, my life is not where I wanted it to be. But it stops you from thinking about other things that are working well in your world. If you ask ourselves how many things are working well, you may find that you've got more things that are working well than the ones that are not working well. Then the second one is jumping to conclusions. We have so much information about the condition and about what is likely to happen. But sometimes, if you're thinking that everything that has been spoken about sickle cell is going to come to you, you might jump to conclusion, I'm going to die young, I'm not going to be able to work and all that. But it's not true, because we have other people that have lived a bit longer with sickle cell. So unhelpful thinking can cause you to be stressed and have anxiety. Personalization. There's that question, why me? Why my family? Why my child? That's personalization. Yes, it has happened to you just like any other things that have happened to other people. Everyone else would ask themselves, why me? But it's a way of, it's a self-defeating thought, because you start to see yourself as a victim, not as a survivor, not as an advocate. Like some of you people that are here, you are now advocates. You're no longer in that victim stance. You're no longer taking that victim stance. And it empowers you. You feel better when you do that way. Catastrophizing. People end up thinking, I'm going to die. Or you always think about the worst case scenarios. Black and white thinking. This is where there's either no way, or my way or no way, or why there should be just cure and no any other way. But we are saying, while there's no cure, there are other ways of managing sickle cell. Just like some other conditions like sugar diabetes, some people have lived with sugar diabetes into old age. Yes, it is because they have accepted after a period of time that, okay, life is not always condition equals cure, but it could be condition equals management until such a time when you're actually older and have lived your life to the full. Should and must, they must get the cure. They are trying very hard. And this is where I encourage all of us, scientists and any other people, if people can come together and try and come up with solutions. That would be amazing. But if we come and say they should and they must, who? We are needed to join hands together and come up with some form of help that can help people with sickle cell. Overgeneralization. One of my children is with sickle cell, so maybe all of them will have. That's unhelpful thinking. Labeling. When you see yourself as a disease, because I'm a sickling, that's labeling yourself. I am a survivor living with sickle cell. It makes you feel more empowered. Blaming is one of the things that people do. Some people living with sickle cell, they start to blame their parents. They start to blame other people. Why didn't they have a check? Why didn't they do this before I came on earth? So that is all unhelpful way of thinking. Let's move on to the next slide. All right, so what are we going to do with our unhelpful thinking? The first thing is we need to develop a habit of challenging that way of thinking in ourselves. How do we do that? Assume you're a detective, or in other words, we call that evidence checking and perspective taking. What am I talking about? If, for example, I'm going to die young, evidence checking. All right, go and look at the research and see what is the probability of that happening. You may find that it's not 100%, and you could be one of those people that will fall in the other percentage of people that will live longer with sickle cell. Perspective taking would be, in a way, like, for example, why me? You know, you could be actually asking yourself things like, what are other people that live with other conditions other than sickle cell? What would they be saying about this? You may find that if you take a broader perspective to it, you feel better in yourself. Disputation. Okay, even if I'm thinking in this self-defeating manner, right? How am I helping myself? Right. What are the consequences of me thinking in this way? This is when you look at having depression and anxiety, and unnecessarily sometimes, because you are not taking time to challenge your way of thinking. Outcomes. You might be thinking about outcomes as well. There are also other outcomes other than your mental health. I'm a carer at the moment. If I am depressed, if I stay with anxiety and depression, what is going to happen to my other 3 children that needs me? I still need to pay the bills. I still need to go to work. I still need to be a carer and a mom. So in a way, we are saying it's worth it taking action to actually practice challenging your unhelpful thinking every day. So I have put a graph there that you can actually look at, and this is the process of challenging an unhelpful thinking. And then the aim of challenging unhelpful thinking is to come up with an alternative, balanced thought. Once you have that, you might find that you might feel better. Let's move to the next slide. And I'm also going to give you emotion management strategies. Sometimes we cannot separate what is going on in our mind, that is our thinking, and the way we feel. They normally come together. Body sensations is what we normally feel. That is stress in the chest. That is lightheadedness, stomach churning, sweaty palms, all that. Heart rate increases. That's a sign that there is distress in your body. So when you feel that, instead of engaging in more unhelpful thinking, my life is not going to be, I'm not going to be happy in my life. Instead of focusing on that, let us use emotion management strategies. The main strategy that I'm going to share with you is called mindfulness. And mindfulness can come in different forms, but it always includes relaxation of your mind, of your body, of your muscles, and it also comes with breathing exercises. And then we also have what you call progressive muscle relaxation. All those are some of the strategies you can use. Let's move to the next strategy. Right, I'm going to explain. I'm only going to give one example of mindfulness that you might be able to remember. This strategy, there are a few strategies that you can learn in terms of mindfulness, but I've chosen riding the wave. Right, if you look at the picture that I put on there, it is written there, you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. I'm sure some of you have been to the beach before. You've possibly seen people that are surfing. When you go to the beach, none of us can stop the waves from coming. That's how it is like with emotions in our bodies. We cannot stop emotions from sweeping through your body because that's who we are made to have emotions. So if you're constantly worried, why do I feel this way? I don't have to feel this way. I am saying to you, from today onwards, allow yourself to experience emotions because you can't stop them. It's part of who you are. But you can ride on them to stop yourself from drowning. There's a difference when an emotion sweeps through your body for a minute or 2 to 3 minutes. It's different from having been anxious the whole day or being depressed all the time. So what we are saying, whenever there is a negative thought in our mind, there's always a body sensation that comes with it. And I am saying to you, under normal circumstances, if you learn to manage your thinking, if you learn to manage emotions, that wave of emotion, it reaches the peak in a few seconds, and then those emotions will eventually die. Some of you that are sitting at the sound of my voice, you are saying, but I can be anxious the whole day. I am saying it is because we have not learned to manage the thinking, because when you have anxiety the whole day, most of the times, it is because that emotion is being re-triggered by more unhelpful thinking. So prolonged emotional distress is influenced by unhelpful thinking, which keeps on re-triggering the body sensations. I'll give you the example. Okay, I am feeling stressed right now. And then my thinking will be going like, my life is not going to be good at all. I'm tired of feeling like this every day. When is this going to come to an end? And then from there, you build on those thoughts. Each negative thought you're bringing is re-triggering another anxious thought. But when you experience the wave of anxiety, the first time you experience it, do you want to move to the next slide? These are the steps to riding the wave. The first step is identify the physical sensation in the body. What I am saying is accept that it's okay to feel stressed. I'm really feeling stressed right now. Acknowledge it in your mind. You can verbalize it if you want. And then number 2, focus on the sensations. What do I mean when I say focus on the sensations? Start to name those sensations. I have got a headache right now. My palms are sweating. And my stomach is churning. My legs are shaking. That's, you're just focusing, you're following through with the sensations that you're feeling You're feeling at them in the here and now. And as you're doing that, notice your breathing and intentionally start to breathe to lower down your stress levels. Breathing, even if you forget all these other steps I'm talking about, just use breathing on its own. Okay, I'm stressed right now. Breathing is a natural mechanism to de-escalate your emotions. Just focus. I need to be taking deep breaths. Don't chase your thoughts. Just focus on managing your breathing. Focus on what's going on in the body. For example, if your heart rate was racing very much initially, the more you breathe, start to notice, I think my breathing is lowering down. I'm starting to feel much better. Stay curious and in the present. Don't chase your thoughts to all these other things like, this is not going to come to an end, sickle cell came to stay, sickle cell is going to kill me, all those kind of things. If you chase those thoughts, you will re-trigger a lot of anxiety. So the key is think of your physical and psychological sensations as a wave that you can successfully write out with your breathing. So with writing the wave, those who have been to the sea, we all enjoy being in the beach. It doesn't matter how big the wave that is coming. We know that the moment it gets closer to us, we jump on it and we ride on it and we just relax and it will go with us until it dies. That's how our emotions work in our bodies. So when an anxiety emotion comes, breathe it in as it peaks and exhale as you think of the edge crashing down, just like the wave. Then after 2 minutes or longer, congratulate yourself for a safe, well done. One single anxiety emotion, it doesn't last for more than 3 minutes most of the times. So if you know how to manage your emotion in the here and now, it will die down, then you can move on to do other things, not to focus on the thinking. But the problem is most of the time, the moment we feel, we always say, why am I feeling like this? You're allowed to feel it. But no, next step is management. Let's go to the next slide. And behavioral strategies. On a daily basis, if you're living with sickle cell or if you are a caregiver, it's important to schedule pleasant activities so that you allow yourself to produce endorphins. That's exercise. It's very important. You can also adopt healthy habits such as soothing activities like taking warm showers, baths, water bottle for pain soothing. That's more for people with sickle cell. You can also schedule something once a week or so. We call them distractions. Watch a movie, watch TV. Those of us who are into creative arts, pick your guitar and play it. You know, pick your brush and paint. Sing, write songs and do what you need to do. Those of you who are into gardening, get into it. You find that that will take your mind off and pursue all the things that you need to be doing. Remember, you can have a life while you live with sickle cell. We call that living positively with sickle cell. That's what survivors do. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I'll be able to answer them when I'm given time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for that. I'm always intrigued and inspired by all your presentations in terms of mental health. I just have to learn how to manage myself as well, because I know that's something that I really have to work on. Well, thank you so much, everyone. We've done it again. I like how we plan all our events and we put through, we've finished our run for World Sickle Cell Day. We started this week and we've done it. Thank you again. We've got September to plan ahead. So let's see what we can plan for World Sickle Cell Awareness Month in September. And let's continue doing all our projects in between because we've got so much to work on as you heard from Honorable Maria Van Vakino. There's so many things that we do behind the closed doors and we like sharing those in the newsletters. So we'll be sharing some more information. At this point, I just want to say thank you everyone again and we'll see you soon.